Alvin, Enrique, welcome to the Blockchain People podcast, powered by Decor, the decentralized objective research engine. At Decor, we are a distributed team of researchers creating institutional-grade research for capital institutions to understand and fund the true innovators and disruptors in decentralized ledger technologies. As you can see, we're doing this podcast to help educate the public and create an audience for the decision makers in the blockchain space. If you'd like to support this mission, all we will ever ask you to do is to hit the subscribe, follow, like, or whatever button it is you currently have in front of you. Of course, you can do this either on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, or wherever it is you listen to podcasts. Just search for either Decor or the Blockchain People podcast. Today we have Alvin and Henrique here, co-founders of Aluna.Social. Aluna is a social trading platform, as the name says, connected to multiple crypto exchanges, and that allows crypto users and investors to follow the trades of each other and earn rewards from doing so. So, how are you doing, guys?
All good.
Doing great. Thanks for having us here.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
All good. So, if you want to start from those that have never heard of Aluna, what can you tell them? How do you usually sell it?
Yeah, I mean, so what I always say is that our vision at Aluna is to, create, is to gamify finance for the Web 3.0 world. And as part of that, our flagship platform, Aluna.Social, combines an API trading terminal with a social network and gamification. Right, so top traders can get rewarded financially and reputationally, and beginner traders can go there and learn from the experts and improve themselves as traders, basically.
Okay, I see that this is one question just to set the pace. I see that you're quite famous on Twitter. You have a big following. Is that from Aluna or is that from previous ventures?
Yeah, it actually started from crypto, right? So I got into crypto around 2013. At that time, when you actually try to Google how do you trade crypto, you find nothing. There's nothing at all, right? So you gotta learn from Forex and try to traditional markets and try to port that over into crypto. So I started writing a blog. It was called alunacrypto.blogspot.com. It's still up there, so you can go and check that out. Started writing a blog, more of like a journal for my own journey, and slowly evolved into writing sort of tutorials and teaching others how about the basics of trading crypto. And yeah, I think that's how I grew a following. And over the years, there's been over a million views on the blog. And then I very early on as well, I went onto Twitter to find out who are the good traders there, what are they saying about the market, and try to learn from them. And yeah, so I think just being a content creator and sharing all this information that I had, I think that helped me to build a bit of a following on Twitter.
How do you, and for those that might not know, Alvin on Twitter, he's Alunaut, Alunaut at Alunaut on Twitter. I see that this was a great time to do this episode because as we were chatting about Telegram, a lot of new people are coming into the space. They're seeing Bitcoin everywhere. They're seeing green candles everywhere. Everyone's excited. Like, again, it's like 2017 all over again. How does it feel to see that many people jumping in the space from you guys? I mean, it's almost every day that I get someone randomly asking me that I'm no expert in trading what they should do to start getting rich off Bitcoin. So I guess on your side, it must be a lot more.
I guess in retrospect, it was inevitable, right? I've been in since 2013. There was a huge surge at that time as well, right? Adoption increased massively. Then you had the bear market, and in 2017, the exact same thing happened, right? After you break all-time high, retail really flows into the space, and that's exactly what we're seeing right now. The thing about Bitcoin is, if this is the future of money, adoption is never going to decrease from here. It's only going to increase. So I think we're going to see this mania continue for at least maybe until summer or till the end of the year. And then yeah, we might just get a repeat again of what happened 4 years ago and 8 years ago. But I think it's really exciting to see this come to fruition after what, a decade or so, seeing people finally understand what value there is in Bitcoin and why it exists today. And I think especially with the recent, the Wall Street bets, that issue that happened, I think a lot of people are opening up their eyes to the value of cryptocurrencies and decentralized crypto, especially. Yeah. So yeah, really exciting times ahead.
I see. Well, we have Enrique here, which is more of the technical on the technical side of things, and you are more on the business side of things, right? As I understand. So, from a technical perspective, Enrique, how does it feel like to see adoption increasing so suddenly and see this unpredictability generally in the direct environment of the platform?
Yeah, yeah. Backtracking a little bit to what you said, it's pretty funny how much um, the price works as advertising for crypto, right?
Right.
Because you can talk about crypto for people. I have spoken about crypto to people for years, and they always come back to you when the all times high are broken, and they always come to you asking if it's too expensive to buy right now. Like, uh, I have there's so many people I told to buy crypto when it was $300, when it was $600, and they always come when it's breaking all time highs, and it's always this weird moment, right? It just feels like, what do you say to somebody? Like, you almost feel like you want to tell them they are late to the party, but in reality you never know if it's late or not late, right? We would think it's still very early, but you never know. In terms of adoption, I think one of the things that I'm really happy about is how MetaMask is getting so popular in the last year. I would say a lot of people just getting very familiar with MetaMask. I think um, Uniswap is one of the was kind of the beginning of the bull market, right? Like, even before things were pumping, Uniswap was already like with a massive traction that I wouldn't have expected. I think it's kind of the killer app on Ethereum so far, right? It's like nobody did something that I think, from my point of view, was so meaningful. I think from that side of things, I'm really happy. I think uh, from how can I say, utopian side of things, I would want people to be using um, blockchain, not because they just want to earn money, right? A lot of people, they end up coming to crypto because they think it's easy money, but in a way or another they end up learning, and they end up like staying for the other reasons, right? So I think it's if price is the good advertising, and if people are getting introduced to crypto because they think they're gonna earn money, so let it be, as long as they come and they learn more about the space. And I think, especially if, as Alvin said, this thing about the Wall Street bets and so many other um, how can I say, fishy things that happen uh, on legacy markets. If people start getting more aware and they start to be more independent, and maybe, yeah, I think that's the thing. If they start to be more aware of what's possible, right? Like, um, I have friends who now come to me and say, "Oh my God, I can't do a transfer on my bank over the weekend. How is this possible?" It's like
Right.
the entire life they couldn't do it, right? But just now they are waking up to the fact, like, how come we still cannot do a transfer on the weekends? I With my crypto, I send send it anytime in 24 hours, but at my bank I have to wait for the weekend or so. I think that's very amazing. I think bringing the other side of things though. um Today we were paying like $50 transaction fees on Ethereum, and you're like, oh
Yeah.
my god, that's a little bit too much. So yeah, it's a very exciting time. I think, especially when the scaling kicks in and we can finally forget all this transaction fee thing, then yeah, we are in a very, very, very good place. I think now we probably just yeah, we're just crossing over to the stable side of things, I would say. I think it's now things are getting really solid when everybody can install MetaMask and everybody know how to use Bitcoin to send transactions. I think yeah, we getting ready for the next part.
I'd like to backtrack to Aluna and to trading because that's the main goal of this episode, anyways. But there is something that you mentioned two times that I find very interesting. And first of all, just a quick word about people trying to time the market. Yeah, if you're coming in at all-time highs because you saw big news about Bitcoin on CNBC or whatever it is you watch your news, chances are you're not gonna be very good at timing the market to enter. So yeah, for those newbies trying to do so, please abstain. And no one knows the future anyways. But you mentioned MetaMask twice, and this is very important too in the crypto environment nowadays. And I personally think it's quite amazing because I never thought I would see a day where people would be so open to embracing basically a desktop Chrome extension as their default crypto wallet. What do you think caused this mindset change?
Well, I think I think surely one thing that makes is the necessity, right? You can have like a hardware wallet that's incredibly secure, but then you need to make a transaction and then it's not so user friendly, right? So I think the first thing is, I think MetaMask looks very user friendly. I think a lot of the times, and you can also link MetaMask to your hardware wallets if you want extra security, right? But
Right,
I think a lot of the times people they undervalue user friendly and user friendliness and user experience, right? I'm a developer for a really long time, and my background is before working with crypto is not finance, and I think when coming to finance, it's pretty clear how it's neglected, um, how is neglected the importance of having something that it's simple and somehow quote unquote cute, right?
right.
Like MetaMask is super like simple and super cute, and it's this little fox
We all love the
and
fox.
yeah, exactly. So I think yeah, I think, and also another thing which is, let's be realistic. If you're using crypto, you're gonna be using your browser, right? And before, there was this idea of downloading an Ethereum browser, at least at the beginning, right? There was this kind of like Chrome fork or something along those lines, uh, which adds a lot of friction. And I think MetaMask is kind of like a very good compromise where you keep using your browser, be it Firefox or Chrome, but then you add the Web3 object. So I think they hit the spot. You're not downloading an entire new browser. You're just adding something.
Right,
I mean, I think we will see, though. I don't think it's necessarily the last, like, it's not necessarily how it's gonna be in a few years, right? Like, there is, for instance, a friend of mine who accidentally downloaded a fake MetaMask extension,
oof.
and yeah, you
Bye bye.
imagine.
Yeah.
So I think it's not necessarily the best solution or the ultimate solution, but it's definitely something that works right now, and it makes making Ethereum transactions really really simple, and now it's getting more and more simple, right? So I think at the beginning when you were signing transactions on MetaMask, it wouldn't even show properly what you were signing, right? You just would say yes, I signed this, and you don't really see what you're signing. There was just some code on, and now it just started to show like exactly the message that you are signing and things like this. So yeah, I even lost where your answer. But yeah, I think yeah, MetaMask is I think one of the biggest evolutions. I truly believe that Bitcoin is kind of the gateway drug, and and the actual
Not
drug.
Dogecoin.
Or
Maybe
Dogecoin, yeah. And again,
maybe
you
that.
can never underestimate the importance of cute things. Like I,
Yeah.
I honestly
That's,
believe that the unicorn is a big part of Uniswap's success. Definitely,
yeah.
and the pink background and everything.
So as I was saying, I think I'm very bullish on Bitcoin, of course, and I think Bitcoin is amazing. But I think in a way, Bitcoin is kind of the gateway drug into Ethereum, right? Uh, I think a lot of people are gonna hate me because I'm saying this, but we are on the internet, right? And the internet is a lot more than sending one value to one account to the other, right? I mean, you can get really complex with Bitcoin, but if you want to do something like smart contracts, you end up going to Ethereum, right? And the internet is a lot more like a smart contract than a simple bank account, right? So I think in a way or another, people get into Bitcoin and then they eventually they get into Ethereum, and who knows, maybe into Polkadot afterwards. um, I think that one of the good things about Bitcoin is that it's only Bitcoin, right? It doesn't have smart contracts in a way. I mean, of course, there are platforms to do smart contracts on the Bitcoin blockchain, etc. But the simplicity of Bitcoin, kind of gives you an extra security, which, for instance, on Ethereum you can have some bugs and end up losing money in a contract, or a contract gets deleted, or some sort of confusion happens. But I think in the future you probably end up with something much more likely similar to Ethereum than to Bitcoin. um, yeah, I
Okay.
think that's the point I was trying to make. As you see recently, you can even trade Bitcoin inside of Ethereum. So I wouldn't be surprised if Ethereum scales faster than Bitcoin and people end up trading Bitcoin on the Ethereum chain instead of the Bitcoin blockchain. I wouldn't be surprised.
Right. And you find a way, and we touched on a couple very interesting points here. And I think this would be more of a question for Alvin, just to keep the screen time sort of even. Where does the idea from this type of design that you have in Aluna? Your platform is very well designed, is very friendly. It has a lot of very well. It has a clear brand and a clear intention behind it, and you just see that straight away when you enter it, that it's a social trading platform, right? That everything is the designed in order for users to be able to copy each other's trades. So where do these ideas come from, and how did you come up with Aluna?
Yeah, as I was saying, back when I started, I got on Twitter really early. And one of the biggest problems with social media is, let's say you go on Twitter, someone says, I think Bitcoin is going to go to 100,000 tomorrow, but you never ever know whether he's really taking that trade, whether he owns Bitcoin. Yeah, you never know whether he's putting his money where his mouth is. And that is one of the biggest problems that I myself faced, through my crypto trading journey. And that's the problem that we want to fix with Aluna. So Aluna is completely transparent, and that's why we take pride in having a website where you can browse everything without having to have a paywall, without having to sign up for an account. You go on Aluna.Social, the first thing you see is a list of all the trades that are going on the platform, who's opening a trade, at what price he opened a trade, who's talking about the market. um, yeah, and I think this is one of the biggest inspirations for Aluna, creating this transparent environment in crypto trading, which is sorely lacking in the space, right? I think it, trading in crypto, it's a very, or even in traditional markets, is a very, like a sort of a dark pool. Like you don't really know what's going on, and nobody's really sharing anything. But social trading has proven itself, as in studies shown, that it helps people become better traders, because everyone is scrutinizing your trades all the time. You make an effort to improve yourself as well. And I think the other big goal that I wanted to create with Aluna is to, or rather achieve with Aluna, is to help other people to shorten their learning curve in crypto trading, and to eventually achieve that kind of financial freedom to prioritize their time for the things that are most important. Yeah, yeah, so basically I think these are the two biggest inspirations for Aluna. In terms of design wise, maybe Enrique can add a bit on um, why how our UI is like and why it's like that.
Yeah, I think as Alvin was saying, there is a little bit of a gap on the crypto trading space, because on crypto, people really used to have everything on the blockchain, but when it comes down to sharing trades, just recently we started seeing more trades on the chain, right? Before was everything on centralized exchanges, and nowadays I think still a lot of the trades happen on centralized exchanges, and you have no third party chain or entity that actually verifies the track record. So Aluna is that third party that can track this performance from users in a transparent way. So it's very similar to a blockchain of trades, right? We if you're familiar with the platform, you see most of the trades we're sharing and verifying now, they are from centralized exchanges, and we started doing some research and some developments integrating as well with decentralized trades, and that's one of the big updates we want to be pushing soon. In terms of design, as Alvin was saying, I think the platform is very simple. It's actually extremely simple, uh, and I think that it's deliberately a choice, because a lot of the times you can get so lost into the noise. You go into an exchange and there is just so much into your screen. There is things are so overly complicated that you end up missing the point, right? Or I think
Right?
um,
More information is not always better information.
no, not at all. And and I think one thing is it's very noticeable for me. Uh, when I got into crypto trading, as Alvin said, you would be going to blogs, you would be going to Twitter, you would be going to Telegram groups, you would be going to Reddit, and you would also have TradingView open, and you also would have your exchange open, and sometimes two or three exchanges open, right?
Right.
Because you're trading different markets, and Aluna is kind of like we're trying to get the core values and the core features of all those things and get them together, right? So on Aluna, when you placing an order, you instantly get a little bit of each, and just little bits enough, so it's kind of relevant as well. Because if you go to Reddit, can be a bit too much info. If you go to an exchange, like I mean, again, like if you are a very advanced trader and you're trying to do very fast trades, maybe you want to see the order book, right? You want to be
Right.
like, oh, I want to see how, and you would be looking at the order book and be, but like realistically, how many times did you take a trade because you were looking at the order book, right? Like most people will, of course it's very amazing to have the order book and to see the order book like jumping fast and see like where are the resistances and where are the supports. But if you did this for some time, you also will see how much of this order book data is just fake, right? You have a wall, and then few seconds later this wall is not on the order book anymore, you know. and
Right.
and that thing can also be playing with your mind. And I mean, Aluna is a very, very, very simplified thing, and you can focus on what are your orders, what are positions, what are balances, and you can see trades from other people. You know, like uh, yeah, I think if you never tried Aluna, please go and try. I think at least, of course, we are biased, but most people
Right.
who try Luna, they will come with very positive feedback about how simple the interface is. And one thing that is also an inspiration is that on the legacy market, on the traditional market, is very common that you adopt one trading terminal. So let's say MetaTrader or Pro Real Time or Ninja Trader, or
Mhm.
you will adopt one software, and you might be trading in multiple countries, you might be trading in multiple accounts, or you might change your broker, but you're still gonna use the same software, right? So you don't have that thing where you're changing the UI in your environment all the time, right? So you're always familiar with the interface. And I think on crypto we also missing a little bit of that. You go to BitMax, it looks in one way. You go to Bitfinex, it looks another way. You go to Binance, it looks another way. But in the end of the day, you just want to place an order with a price, right? So
Right.
it's like I think the community eventually will realize that okay, the exchanges will change, but the UI could be the same always, right? And in the end of the day, I think the only constant that we have since I started trading is that I see my charts on TradingView. Everything else changes. The only thing that stayed from the day zero for me is that the charts are from TradingView. And that's one thing that we kept on Aluna, and we are working harder and harder to get the TradingView integration better. So we're looking into like saving your charts, saving your drawings, and hopefully doing a lot more with the TradingView charts now. One thing that's very nice is if you go to Aluna now and you find on the homepage, you quickly find trades from people. When you click on a trade on Aluna, there is many things that happen that I find very interesting. One is that every trade is some sort of thread, so it's like a Twitter thread or a Reddit thread, but at the same, so everybody can put comments on your trades,
Right.
and it shows the trading view charts, and it shows as well which candle the person got into the trade and which candle the person got out of the trade, which
Okay.
is such a simple thing, but I find it so nice. And for instance, if you comment on my trade, is gonna say what time you commented on my trade, and it will also say at which price you commented, which
All
is
right.
something that, for instance, if somebody comments on your trade on Twitter, or somebody comments on your trade, or makes a comment on Reddit, or or make a comment on most crypto platforms, you don't have the price on the site. The person might say, hey, that's an amazing trade, but like at this time the trade was positive, but when the person is reading, the trade might be negative. So the person needs the price, needs the time the comment was made, and the person needs the price that the comment was made. And those are the little important details that we are working to put together on Aluna to make the interaction way more fun and to the point, you know. That's,
I think
those are
there is something very positive in having this social accountability that Alvin was mentioning. People become better traders just because they know others are watching, and maybe you're also having the pressure of knowing that others might get wrecked if you make a bad trade, right? So you take care of that. And obviously these visual features are important because one might always find a ways to rationalize their actions over Telegram or over Reddit or everything. But if others can see it in a chart, it gets more intuitive. And yeah, since we're touching on social trading, and I think we all get the annoying eToro ads on YouTube, or at least I do get a ton of those. And for those that might not know what social trading is, although I think you might have picked it from the context already, social trading is basically person A does a trade, and it's visible for everyone to see, and others get to choose to copy it. So, and that's in a nutshell. Of course, there are many nuances to it. And you mentioned that there are studies that prove that social trading makes people better traders because it adds this social accountability to it. But what do you say to the criticism? Then this is always the critical point for people when they talk about social trading, that people that are actually making money and that professional traders and that good traders would not want strategically their trades to be open for everyone to see.
Yeah, I think of course there are some people who would not want to share their trades, right? Basically, if they share their trades, they would be giving away their alpha. They would not be able to make as much as they can. But that doesn't apply for everyone. I think probably only the really big, the really huge size traders would not want to share. But I think generally 90-80% of retail traders would be willing to share. And I think it's not just about sharing your trades or copying other people, right? I think social trading really helps people to learn how to trade. You can learn from other people, and like I said before, you get scrutinized, so you also improve your own trading. Helps beginners to learn from others, shorten their learning curve. Um, so yeah, I think although some people don't want to share their trades, there definitely are people who are open to sharing their trades, and we do keep the private information well private. So like your what is your account balance? What is the size of it? I mean, besides being a social network, we're also a trading terminal, so you can manage multiple exchange accounts from one place. And in the future, we're gonna have premium features that will allow users to keep their profiles private, so they can use the features of a trading terminal but not necessarily have to share all their trades publicly.
Okay, you can you can talk about how, and I think this is important for people to listen to, how, as you mentioned, the retail trader is very different than the pro trader, and the strategies that apply to one might not apply to the other. Who do you think should and who do you think shouldn't use social trading?
I think um, I think social trading. I think that one of the things we have to define is what exactly social trading, right? Because one thing is social trading. Sometimes people define it as simply copying other people, but social trading can be just sharing your ideas, right? So I think everybody can benefit from social trading, even if you're not copying other people. The simple fact that you are publishing your idea and other people will talk to you about it might be beneficial, right? You might be in a trade and some news come and somebody might comment on your trade and you're gonna benefit from a social interaction that is not necessarily blindly copying somebody, right? I think if you define social trading as strictly copying somebody, then I think it's a two-sided sword, right? If you never do the trade yourself, it might be hard to learn. But in the other hand, if you never do the trades, maybe copying somebody is a good start to understand when the people are getting into the market and when people are leaving the market, right? And backtracking a little bit about what you said about not wanting to share the trades. I think one thing that's important to say is that on Aluna you don't have to review who you are and you don't have to review what's your position size. We actually don't review the position size. We don't review people's balances, all the confidential information, basically how big your position is not revealed. So even if you're a big trader, I don't think you would have a downside of sharing your trades on Aluna, right? You don't need to tell what's your name because Aluna doesn't KYC the users because the exchanges are KYCing the users. We are just basically a data sharing platform, right? So in that way, I think everybody would benefit in a way or another. Even if you're just trading for yourself, I think Aluna can be useful in the sense that you can see your trade history, you can see how well you are doing, and that's also something we're working on, which is improving the reports and telling you what you're doing well. Are you doing better on your longs? Are you doing better on your shorts? And so on. So there are a lot of things you can learn even if you trading completely on your own just by using a platform like Luna.
Do you have you identified a certain profile, let's say, a certain type of person that is more likely to benefit from trading actively? Because of course we see the two mindsets going around the internet, or yeah, just around, that some type of people should just stay hodling, they should just invest for the long term and not worry about it. And of course trading is more time consuming and it might require certain even psychological traits. So have you identified which type of user is more likely to benefit from active trading?
If you ask me honestly, I mean, uh, the the best trade so far in crypto would be hodl for everyone, right? If you would just bought Bitcoin, Ethereum when you never traded, you would have all this free time for yourself. You wouldn't be looking at any charts and you would be at all-time highs right now. So that would be definitely the best trade, right? Most people who try to be smarter than the market, including myself, probably didn't perform as well as just holding, right? And I think that's one of the funny things, right? People are always trying to look for what is the best trade, but in crypto so far, the best trade would be no trade, right?
Right.
Just buy and buy and hold. I think not many people can outperform the market, on my personal opinion, which is not necessarily true, right? I'm not a specialist. I'm not going to Aluna's database to see who is outperforming the markets. I mean, it's a hard tell. I think Alvin probably have his own opinion about it as well.
I mean, 90 plus percent of people lose money trading. So I think it's not a question about identifying what kind of people are more suited for active trading, but rather, it's really a personal preference, whether you have that time to be trading full time, whether you can build up the discipline and that system to actually make it consistently profitable. Um, but yeah, I mean, there is a lot of opportunity in crypto, and I mean, you see altcoins going up like 100% a day, and of course, people want to jump on these opportunities and try to out trade the market. But unfortunately, 80-90% of people probably gonna underperform the market. And yeah, I guess just by this stat, it would be more prudent for most people to just hold and not to trade, and probably best not to touch leverage, especially if you are new to trading. Um, yeah.
Right. Leverage for the got possessed for a second. Leverage, for those that might not know, so it's basically borrowing money from exchanges in order to trade, which is something that, as Alvin says, you should well stay away from if you don't know the risks or if you are new to trading. And yeah, since we're touching on how the best trade is not to trade sometimes, and of course we do know that there is a positive side for trading and that some people would benefit from trading, who would you advise to go into trading? Or what would you advise to those that are looking to go into it?
I personally would advise everybody to go into trading. I think what I wouldn't advise is to try to trade every day. I think everybody would benefit from learning what trading is and what investing is. I think if 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 anything, I'll give you a very simple example. My brother called me maybe 2 weeks ago asking me if Ripple was a good buy.
I
I
have
mean,
two of those this week.
I mean, my entire life, my brother wasn't interested in investing or what trading was. So if anything, getting into trading will make people more aware of how they could improve, how they could have a better performance than saving on a savings account. If they then great. Then I think everybody should. I think I would wish everybody in my family had at least $100 in Ethereum, so they could see how it goes over the time, or they would at least look for some news, or would like try to understand what it is. And I think getting into crypto is way more exciting than getting into Apple, for instance. I think reading news about Ethereum is much more fun than reading news about Amazon or reading news about Apple. So I would hope, and I would think everybody should at least buy a bit of Bitcoin, a bit of Ethereum. It is no exceptions. I think it's a very nice thing to be aware of in 2021.
I think everybody who gets into crypto is inevitably a trader, right? And if you buy your first Bitcoin, your first Ethereum, the first thing is, what price should I buy at? Right? You want to wait a little bit and try and buy it a bit lower, then you're already trading, right? And because crypto is money, anyone who owns crypto, you will end up trading somehow or the other, right? So I mean, I can say please don't trade, but like, when people see the opportunities in this market, they eventually will end up getting that gateway coin, and then getting into all the other shit coins as well. But yeah, I think the most important thing, if you are gonna start trading, is learn how to manage your risk, right? I think that's the one most undervalued um, the most undervalued thing that traders tend to not put enough effort or time on to improve, right? Yeah, I think, if as long as you can manage your risk, um, create a system that is kind of more, I mean, create a system so that you don't trade on emotions, right? You have five, let's say 3 or 5 steps that you must follow. Make it a mechanical kind of system so you don't fall prey to emotions. Yeah, I think that, as well as risk management, if you can cover those two things, I think you would probably be able to um, maybe make some money out of trading, or make it a full-time job. But yeah, I mean, the opportunity in crypto is huge. Anyone who jumps into this, they're here to make money. You're not going to be able to tell them don't trade. right?
Right.
I think what you can do is try to help them learn to manage their risk, right? If you have $100 in crypto, like don't use $100 to go and buy an altcoin. Don't like all in on XRP or Dogecoin or something, right? Learn how to manage your risk. Leave 80 or 60% in Bitcoin. You can spend like 1 to 2 to 5% in altcoins. It's all about your portfolio management, your risk management, and the system, that the mechanical system that helps you to avoid like succumbing to your emotions, basically.
There are mixed opinions on this. Would you consider Ethereum an altcoin at this point at all? Or would you say that people can choose a strategy where they rely, let's say, 60% on Ethereum?
I think it's becoming. I mean, the term altcoin is an alternative coin to Bitcoin,
Right.
right? So basically, anything other than Bitcoin is an altcoin. But that's it. Yeah, Ethereum's definitely up there, and I can see it, existing in parallel to Bitcoin, and it's not exactly a competitor to Bitcoin. I think, in all markets, eventually, 80% of, I mean, let's say the market cap consolidates into the top 20% of the coins, right? And I don't think it's different in crypto. Yeah, I think Bitcoin and Ethereum serve two different purposes. I don't think they compete with each other. Yeah, I think Bitcoin will eventually have smart contracts as well, but that's going to take a long while. So in the meantime, we have Ethereum. But anyway, my point is, I think they will both coexist along with some other coins that all serve different purposes.
And you touched briefly on risk management. And of course, when people are new to trading, they might not even know what risk management means. So, are there any particular resources or any particular strategies that you would advise people to handle at first or to take a look at first in order to better manage their own risk?
Yeah, I think I just want to say, I think a lot of people who get into trading, they probably hear this one thing about risk management, and that is you should only risk 2% of your portfolio per trade. Um, so a lot of people also misunderstand this. They think that, if you have $100, that you can only open a position for $2, but that's not what it means. Risking 2% means that if your trade goes south, you're going to lose 2% of your portfolio, right? So even if you have $100, you could open a position for $100, but if that position goes negative 2%, then you're out, right? Or you could open it for $10, and if it goes down 20%, and then you're out. So I think that's one of the misconceptions I want to clear up. But besides that, in terms of resources for learning more about risk management as well as other trading stuff, I think one of the best resources out there is Crypto CRED. I think a lot of
Okay.
people know him, and he has a ton of great resources from all the basics as well as risk management and everything to do with trading, basically. So if you're new to crypto, new to trading, I definitely recommend checking out CryptoCred's resources. You can find him on Twitter and I think on Medium. And besides that, on our own blog at blog.aluna.social, we also have some basic tutorials for teaching people how to trade, manage their risk, and how to basically get into crypto trading.
Okay. And how do you see, of course, people jump into crypto because they want to make big figures, right? And they treat it sort of like a gamble where they just want to, for the most part, and if they're smart about it, they put a small part of their net worth on it and they expect to get a large gain from that. Um, how would you suggest people to look into crypto as opposed to other assets or other investment vehicles or speculation vehicles?
I I I mean, crypto's been or at least Bitcoin has been the best performing asset for the past decade, 12 years, whatever it is. So, and I believe that crypto is going to continue to grow, probably an increasing rate as well. So at this point of time, I wouldn't recommend any other investment vehicle. I mean, besides, buying land, investing in food, I think that's okay. But if you compare the stock market, compare bonds to crypto, I think it's a no-brainer choice for me at least.
How do you, or I mean, what do you mean by investing in food? That's the first for me at least.
I mean, like buying farmland and that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, of course. You don't want to be left without farmland in case the zombie apocalypse comes comes around. And okay, so I think we can start wrapping up our talk on trading. Of course, we can talk a bit more about Aluna in a second, but this is very freshly of the headlines, right? And this is something that happened very recently. What's your opinion? And if you want, we can take turns answering this one. What's your opinion on being in the retail investment market yourselves on these recent happenings, on this string of events regarding Reddit, regarding GameStop, Wall Street bets? It all went down crazily. I think a lot of people just learn about speculation from this thing just because it was so entertaining to watch unfold. So, how do you think this can reflect into the crypto market?
Yeah, I was following that whole event pretty closely. I think it was quite an exciting time, and I think it was an eye opener for many at the end of it. Um, I think basically the biggest takeaway was that the 1%, they're not here to protect the little guy like you and me, right? Um, right, when they got, I mean, the hedge fund got short squeezed, and basically all the brokers closed out the retail's positions without their consent, stopped them from buying so that price could go down and so that the hedge fund could close their short at a smaller loss or maybe even in profit, who knows. So I mean, it really was kind of disgusting to see what happened at the end of it. But I think the good thing that comes out of that is people start to realize, right, these guys are not taking care of us, and crypto is actually a solution to this, right? Why was Bitcoin created in the first place? Because of the QE and the money printing, and basically all these middlemen um, have shown that we can't trust them. And I think a lot of people are opening their eyes now to it, and it's nice to see the world finally waking up to this and jumping into crypto. Whether or not they look at crypto as a means to make a lot of money or whatever it is, but once you get into crypto, I think once you start to understand, once you start to dig deeper, you start to realize the faults in the system and how crypto actually fixes some, not all, but some of them.
I personally really liked to see how many people learned what a short is, because
Mhm.
all of a sudden there is like so many known traders talking about what short is and how
Or even
some
beauty influencers. Everyone was trying to explain that in layman terms. Yeah.
yeah, and like saying how people actually bet on companies failing, and that's something that I didn't expect to all of a sudden be quote unquote popular knowledge, right? Like as I said, all of a sudden there is like I don't know, like celebrities talking about what a short is, and from that perspective, I found was very educational and somehow positive. But as Alvin said, it also reveals a dark side of things, and I think on on that sense, I think we still have a long way. Like they say in crypto, not your keys, not your crypto, right? And I think in that sense, we still have a lot to learn. I think that's one of the reasons as well why all of a sudden Uniswap got so popular, right? Because there is a large amount of people who don't want to use brokers anymore, right? If I mean, of course, decentralized trading on Ethereum have downsides, a lot of downsides compared to centralized exchanges, but there is also a lot of good sides. Like in theoretically, you can't be stopped, right? If GameStop was on Ethereum, in theory, nobody would be able to stop retail traders from buying GameStop, right? So, um, yeah, I mean, uh, it's just fascinating. I mean, the string of events from that is just overwhelming. The amount of new information and how the Elon Musk is talking
Yeah.
about Bitcoin and Tesla is buying Bitcoin and people are talking about short squeezes and things like this. I could never predict this.
I think it was pretty I think it was pretty amazing to see as well that people on Reddit could collectively put a hedge fund out of business. And I think it's a really exciting era. I think especially since Bitcoin came around for the past 12 years, that for once, since I think this is the first time ever that we actually have the chance to sort of take back that power from these people and make things right with through crypto or whatever it is. But we actually have the power to do things collectively, right? um, and I think that's really exciting for the road ahead.
I wouldn't want to be in a Robin Hood meeting of these days. Like I don't think no one is happy in that table. And we see, as you say, there are a lot of people that weren't talking about shorts before. There is even a sense of urgency for decentralization that you didn't really see in 2008 when they were bailing out the banks, right? In America, which is of course the empire and the only place where news come from for the most part. So you see that this huge event happened and no one really was talking about it because there wasn't a clear path for tools that could fix these systems. And all of a sudden, with Elon Musk talking about Bitcoin, with most people aware of these new decentralized things, all of a sudden it seems like there is a path out of this. Are there any entrances to decentralized finance or to a new financial ecosystem that you think people are not aware of that they should be, particularly people that might know something about crypto or that might be aware but not completely deep into it? If no one wants to take this one, I'm gonna point fingers. Okay, Enrique.
I think there is a few misconceptions though. I think some of the majority of the problems we are talking here, they are human problems, right? Like people being greedy, people controlling the markets, and I don't think crypto solves this, right? It's like crypto solves a lot of technical issues, but crypto doesn't solve market manipulation. Crypto doesn't, like crypto will solve you being able to do a transaction on the weekend without having to talk to your bank. Crypto will solve you not needing authorization to send money to somebody or overseas. But market manipulation, it's a human problem, right? It's something that is bound to happen on whatever market it is. So I think a lot of the times those things get mixed up, and I think it's very hard to put them apart, right? It's like the beginning of Bitcoin, a lot of people are saying, oh, crypto is using to buy drugs, crypto is used to do crimes, But before crypto existed, crimes and drugs existed, and people were using other things to do it. So they were using the dollar, they were using the pounds or the euros or whatever they are using. So you cannot come and say like crypto is responsible for this, or we cannot have crypto because it makes it easier, right? Like technology makes things easier, but technology doesn't solve human problems. And I think we cannot try to give this responsibility, right? Like, oh, buy Bitcoin and what happened to GameStop will not happen on crypto. Honestly, it will happen. It will happen in a different way. It will be a guy front running you on Ethereum decentralized exchange. It will be a miner on Ethereum front running his trade on Uniswap. It will be like it's a human nature. People will be closing those gaps. They will be doing. They will try to take profit as the any way they can. So I think so. To answer your question, I think getting to crypto to understand how the technology can make things easier. I think for one thing that I find amazing, for instance, that's somehow hard to explain is when you're making a transaction on Ethereum, for instance, it's almost like you're signing a check and you're giving it to the miner, and the miner will execute that check, right? You have your private key, you sign a transaction, and you deliver it to a miner who will eventually execute the transaction. One thing that I find amazing is that, for instance, with that same private key, you can sign a message and send an email to somebody, and that message will prove who you are. And on that message, you can say what's your Ethereum account. And one thing I find fascinating is that for that to happen, you don't need a phone number, you don't need a passport, you don't need a proof of address, you don't need a gender, you don't need any of that. So in terms of like welcome to the future, I think that's for me one of the most fascinating things. You can create an Ethereum account offline, you can create a Bitcoin account offline, you can use your private key to sign a text message, you can use a private key to send a transaction to somebody. The transaction might contain funds, the transaction might contain just data. I think that's amazing. I don't know if one day the bank will allow you to sign messages with your bank account password, or if your bank will give you this sort of freedom, right? So I think in that sense, like I wish people would understand that crypto is not only cash. There's so many things around it, and there's so many problems that could be solved. Political issues such as, for instance, when you talk about counting votes on US, right? In
Right.
2021, we have been to the moon, we have been to Mars, and the US election is being counted manually, and people are claiming that the votes were counted incorrectly. Like we already have the technology to avoid those issues, and I think in that sense, crypto has a lot to give because people still just look to crypto purely as value. Most people still look to crypto purely as value, but there is so many functionality that comes together that backs up that simple Bitcoin transaction. And I hope we can somehow make the community more aware that crypto is not only the price, and crypto is not only money ledger, right? It can be a very sophisticated ledger that can be used to solve a lot of problems, not only simple transactions. Transactions is actually one of the simplest things to solve with the technology we have now.
I think that's very on point here because as we see more new people coming into the space and we get friends or your brother or whoever asking about crypto and how to start trading it and how to start investing in it, I think we people that are more seasoned in this environment forget to tell them to go straight down to the basics. Of course, if you want to get into crypto, not only look at the price, try to understand a bit about the technology, learn about blockchains, learn about smart contracts. All of a sudden, no one talks about smart contracts anymore, and they used to be like their main talking point back in the day when they first came out. And these are groundbreaking innovations that are slowly being developed. It's like being on the early days, as we always say, of the internet or electricity or whatever. Of course, at first the tools are going to be very primitive and very rudimental, and people are going to build on them, and you see big leaps being taken, followed by silence, followed by more big leaps. And guys, to start wrapping up, I understand that there are some new things coming for Aluna. I understand that there are some exciting developments coming on. So what can people expect? Where can they find you? What would you like them to do if they're interested in learning more about you, about the project?
I think first thing, if you are a trader, if you are interested in learning how to trade crypto or want to improve yourself, come on Aluna.Social. Create a free account, check out what other people are doing, and learn from everyone else. Yeah, we've so far we've integrated 5 exchanges, including BitMEX, Bitfinex, Binance, and I think over the next in the next 2 or 3 months, we're going to be enabling Binance futures as well as integrating FTX. And also, I think one thing I wanted to share is that there will be a Serum and Solana hackathon that's happening mid of this month to the end of this month, and we'll be taking part as well. So right now, Aluna.Social is an aggregator for centralized exchanges, right? We provide social trading, copy trading features on top of that. And one of the, as Enrique mentioned as well earlier, that one important thing that we want to work on is how do we do this also for DeFi. And so we're going to take part in this hackathon for Serum and Solana and build out a social trading um, solution for DeFi. Yeah, and we'll be integrating Binance futures as well as FTX over the next month, and we're going to enable copy trading for BitMEX as well. So all this is going to happen over the next 2 to 3 months, and also, I mean, we're having a private sale for our Aluna token right now. We will be hosting a public sale with DAO Maker over the probably next month. So yeah, a lot of exciting things happening. Come check out our website if you want to, check out our Twitter as well, twitter.com/Aluna.Social, and join our Telegram group, also at Aluna.Social to get the latest on our project.
Since you touched on the token, what can you tell people about how the token will be used and how you're gonna roll out the sale?
Yeah, the token, I like to say that the Aluna token is very similar to an exchange token. And the core functions of the token really are firstly, to bootstrap the community and the ecosystem. And it also acts as a rewards and incentive mechanism, right? So all platforms, all products in the Aluna ecosystem, including our flagship Aluna.Social platform, you'll be able to earn rewards for taking part, for participating in the platform, for contributing in the platform. So right now we have an airdrop going on. You have to basically connect an exchange account and open a margin trade, right? So you trade, and the more volume you trade, the more rewards you get. So it's kind of like participation mining, kind of. So the more you trade, the more tokens you can earn. So there's going to be a lot of these kinds of incentive programs and rewards programs for our users. Yeah, so just a bit of a nutshell of what Aluna token is for.
All right, Enrique, is there anything you'd like to add to this?
No, I think Alvin covered the most important points. You can go to Aluna.Social as well /token, and you can see a lot of more detailed information about uh, what we're doing, and with the token, and you can read a white paper and see a roadmap and have a closer look.
Okay, good. So I think this is a great place to wrap up, guys. We've been at this for 1.5 hours. We can all see that it got dark wherever Enrique is. Yeah, there was a lot more light in your screen before. If anyone listened to this would like to learn more about what we do here at Decor, as we mentioned before the interview, we are a decentralized team of researchers for investment capital. So you can go to decor.net/slash research and see our investment reports. They're completely free for everyone. You can also join as a researcher. And well, Enrique, Alvin, thank you very much. Obrigado.
Thank
Thank
you
you
so
for
much,
having
Alvin.
us.
Pleasure being here. Thank you.
If you guys want, go follow Enrique on Twitter, go follow Alvin, go follow Aluna, learn how to trade, learn how to use it, invest in Bitcoin, learn about blockchains. That's the future. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Bye bye.